Good afternoon, Town of LaPointe Regular Planning and Zoning Town Plan Commission. 4:30, March 4th, 2026. Call to order, roll call.
Charles Brummer.
Jim Peters.
Amy Baxter.
Paul Wilharm.
Ron Socek.
Public comment. Zoning Administrator report.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We have a handout in your package that kind of summarizes my February 2026 activities and accomplishments. We won't spend a whole lot of time on this. You've got the summary in front of you, but some highlights included. We completed the majority of the zoning ordinance rewrite efforts with the draft that we had prepared on December 30th. We had 3 meetings in January and 2 in February, concluding on February 11th. I took all of your comments and incorporated them into a draft final document for your review and distributed those on February 19th. So a lot of great work by the team on that. Today we'll be talking about kind of the next steps and timing. Also, what was a pretty heavy lift during the month was my grant writing responsibilities, and we did submit 2 grant applications for the Madeline Island Ferry Line to the Department of Transportation. One of them for repowering and superstructure work on the Island Queen, and we're asking for approximately 1.9 million in total. And the second grant application is a planning and design grant for 700,000 to map out the vessel future for the Madeline Island Ferry Line as the fleet continues to age. So both those applications were submitted on February 18th. And Department of Transportation will review those and make an announcement in June. And then the last week of the month, I attended and participated with representatives from the Madeline Island Ferry Line on the Passenger Vessel Association Meritrends 2026 National Conference in Covington, Kentucky. There were over 400 leaders, key government officials, and influencers in the passenger vessel industry. I participated in approximately 30 seminars, workshops, and roundtables in total while I was there, and met many key people in the industry. This will, greatly help us in bidding on and competing for grants in the future. So I learned a lot more than I thought I would ever get. So it was good. And on page 2 of that report, I summarized some of the key sessions that I did sit in on, including things like lessons, how to get the most participation from your shipbuilding project, and then a public ferry operators discussion. And that included people from out east, New York, Alaska, Chicago. A lot of people were in attendance at that. So I got to see the state of the industry. So as far as, and I did take my computer along with me on that trip, and during breaks and in evenings and mornings, I was able to keep up on related work, and I kept things moving forward. So I'm able to accomplish a couple of things. During February, it was pretty light on the permitting side. We have 2 that are on the agenda for today. However, it is shaping up to be a busy March, getting ready for our April 1st meeting. There reported the property owners that while they haven't submitted permit applications yet, they've had questions as they're preparing it. So been working with them as time has gone by. We talked about the grant applications. Those ended up actually being between 30 and 36 pages each. So it was a pretty heavy lift during the month. I also sat in on local small structures grant improvement program. We didn't have any projects eligible, but it's good to know that that's out there. And last thing is in working with Katie on the short-term rental issues. We do have a meeting scheduled for next week regarding the complaint that we had received during the late summer, early fall. And then the short-term rental renewal letters to all property owners was sent out on February 17th. And that just included the deadline to apply, which is June 14th, some important ordinance reminders, and information about the 2023 Wisconsin Act 73 regarding alcohol. So, and I know that Katie's working hard on that this week and has started to issue those permits.
Thank you. Let's approve some minutes, the regular TPC meeting from February 4th. Anybody see anything?
Make a motion to accept the appoint planning and zoning commission regular monthly meeting minutes of February 4th.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next one's February 11th, special meeting.
Bottom of page 1, responses. You won't harm open discussion on section 11. P. Brummer pointed out that should be C. Brummer. Pointed out that one sentence could be interpreted if the town board can amend the law.
Thanks.
Make a motion to approve town plan commission special meeting.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Old business review, discuss, and possibly approve land use permit applications, and we have a CSM, Ellen Hecker.
Right, so you have a handout, it's front and back in your package. It's submitted in mid-February. So lots 1 and 2 were previously mapped in 1958. And actually there were other issues along Nebraska Road that had been cleaned up in the past. This one had not been. So the property owners together, agreed that now is the time to get the description corrected. So this map corrects the errors made in 1958. So on the front is actually, this is from the Ashland County website. And we all know that when we log into that, there's a little thing at the bottom that you check and then you actually go into the map. Well, part of that says that, the property boundaries are plus or minus 100 feet. So it's not a completely accurate representation, but it is close. But this actually captured the discrepancy, where if you look at the property line that's in the middle, that actually should have been further south. And that was, dating back to 1958. So on the back is actually a corrected version that shows that middle property line has been moved further to the south. So I coordinated with the surveyor on this and we reviewed it, and as this was something that dated before 1972, the setbacks really don't come into play here, but it is conforming as far as the 9,600 square feet, both over 17,000 square feet. So I have no concerns with the proposal and, you know, the way that this process works is, then we recommend this going to the town board, because there is a sheet that I sign and that, the town board signs as well that completes this and then it gets submitted. And we just received those, today. I've received the application and the checks, the fees, previously. But I got the last piece today. And so it would be on the town board agenda. It's on the draft, I believe, at this point, that's being circulated for publication for the meeting on Tuesday, March 10th.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the town board approval of the Sullen Hecker CSM. as
Second.
presented.
I got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. On the second one here, looks like CSM for the Wilderness Preserve.
Yep, and you've got a front and back handout in your package as well, for this one. This is out at 8752 Big Bay Road. And this is Philip Myers, who currently has a 35-acre lot, is going to convey 30 of those acres to the Wilderness Preserve. So the property that abuts Big Bay Road is zoned S1 Shoreland Protection District, and the recommendation or the proposal here is 5.56 acres, which is well above the 3-acre requirement. And then that leaves exactly 30 acres, which would be going to the Wilderness Preserve, which that area there is zoned W1 with a minimum lot size of 20 acres. So this exceeds that. Now, everyone probably has the question as I did, right? Well, that's a unique lot line and configuration. So I did ask, in working with Nelson Surveying, the justification behind that, or at least the thinking behind that. And I apologize, it's hard to see on here, but on the right-hand side of the portion that's angling up is a beaver lodge that exists. And then where the V is in the Wilderness Preserve portion, that's where actually the Beaver Dam is located. And that allows then the Beaver Lodge and the Beaver Dam to remain on Wilderness Preserve property. So that's why it was drawn that way.
That whole, I've walked this property, that whole property used to be dry until the beaver showed up.
Okay.
Now there's actually a huge pond back there.
Okay. So anyway, I talked with the surveyor throughout this. Most recently is March 2nd, so just 2 days ago. Surveyor explained the reason for the shape. And then, it meets the lot size, and I have no concerns with the proposal, and this would be the same process. And I received the portion that would go to the town board today. And it's on the agenda for March 10th.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval to the town board of the Medlin Island Wilderness Preserve Certified Survey Map as presented.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A zoning ordinance rewrite. Comments, next steps. Possibly identify a public hearing date.
Okay, a couple of questions on the copy that Rich sent out to everybody, the draft March 4th.
Good, why? You want to go page by page? Like,
Yes,
what's the first page you had?
before.
Let's go.
And at the very bottom, number 4, allowed use, the last sentence, As allowed, does not require a permit. You've got to add the word normally. And allowed use does not normally require a permit, but sometimes it does. Next one I have is on page 6. And we jump in if I go past.
Hey, you're good, keep going.
Number 17, conditional use, last sentence. Uh, reference section 3.0 and 4.2G of this ordinance. I think 4.2G doesn't really apply. That it's just section 3. 4.2G is the listing of allowed uses like accessory structures, mobile assemblies, I think they are. So it doesn't really have anything to do with conditional uses.
You got anything on page 7? As I do.
Yes.
Is that about accessory dwelling and
Yes.
incidental dwelling? Underneath accessory dwelling, last sentence, it says only one accessory dwelling or two. That should be one incidental dwelling, because below,
Yep.
under incidental dwelling, the last sentence says only one incidental. So we need to change the last sentence
Yes.
in accessory dwelling to reflect only one incidental dwelling or allowed.
Right. Nothing on 8.
Nope.
On 9, number 38. The second sentence talks about the OHWM. I think we ought to spell that out. So it reads ordinary high water mark. Because I don't think everybody would read that and know what the OHWM is. And number 39, garage shelter canopy. Change the first word from any to a. And then add at the end of the sentence, used to shelter vehicle, boats, or other items, because otherwise that could refer to a tent. Because it's used to shelter vehicle, boats, or other items. Number 44, greenhouse commercial. It says a structure for the growing of flower plants, shrubs, trees, and vegetation, and then it says, which are not necessarily transplanted outdoors on the same lot containing such greenhouse. I think all that could be deleted and just use the word and, so it would read a structure for the growing of flowers, plants, shrubs, trees, and similar vegetation, and are sold directly from such a lot at wholesale or retail. I'd hope to be able to type out all these corrections so that our next meeting have these available for everyone. And on page 11, number 61, very last sentence, I think accessory dwelling needs to be changed to incidental dwelling.
I agree with that. Before that though, Jim, we have two lot of record under 55 and 59, and I think the first should just say lot instead of lot of record, and 59 should be lot of record. There's two lot of records, right?
Yep.
I think 55 is just plain lot.
Mhm. Then on 12. On 13 at the top, 73 permitted use, the last sentence. Again, it talks about reference section 3.0 and 4.2G, and we can, I think, eliminate or delete section 4.2G. Nothing on 14. On 15. On 97. At the end of that definition, I think it should say a structure alteration requires a UDC permit. The people, when they read this and see, looking at altering their structure, they're getting a UDC permit. Now, 98, structure minor accessory. I think we can delete the whole definition, the whole thing. And it's covered in 96, structure accessory. Or the other option would be to, instead of having the head of that, a structure minor accessory, it would change it to mobile assemblies, which is part of 4.2G, but I think it's easier just to get rid of the whole thing. Because it's covered under structure accessory.
And that's the list of everything from brick barbecues and to, you know,
Right.
satellite dishes, yeah.
And I'm up to page 16. Number 106, first room. I think at the end of that definition, there should be a sentence that says reference ordinance to regulate rental properties. And on number 111, for some reason, we had decided to delete for shoreline parts of the lake shed should be considered the front prim and da. I think we should leave that in there because that's,
I was wondering the same thing. That should be left in there. And before that too, under 107, council appoints as name of village with adopted village powers. Should that be name of the town with adopted village powers, or? It's a town will appoint, not the village will appoint, right? It's a town with village powers is how I always was raised that phrase, so just change village to town, I think.
Mhm.
And before that, under tent, and there's just comment I was thinking about, a collapsible structure no more than 200 square feet of area of canvas, blah, 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 designed for use for sleeping quarters. That wouldn't apply to any tent such as the church bazaar tent.
Where were you?
102 tent definition
Okay,
at the top of the page. No more than 200 square feet, and I know it specifically says for sleeping or living, so that would not apply to something like the church bazaar tent or the tent at Tom's burned down, correct?
right, because it says designed for temporary living or sleeping quarters.
So the church bazaar tent or the tent at Tom's burned down would not be considered a tent, according to this definition, right?
Right,
Okay, just so we're clear. I don't know if that's gonna be a loophole with something down the line. Doesn't bother me right now, but just so we're all clear on that's what it says.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a problem, but
You'd have to break it off, tent, and then this should actually be camping tent, another one for tent.
maybe, yeah. But just so we're clear on it, because
Yeah.
when I read it a few times, it didn't, I know it covers a tent for camping, but there's other tents out there. There's tents people put up for weddings, there's And granted, most of them are temporary. They're not gonna be there for very long. Same thing with the church bazaar tent, so maybe it's not an issue, but I just wanted to point it out. If anyone else had any comments, maybe it's not a big deal.
On page 17. Number 113, yard side. The last sentence, setbacks that are from the right of way. I think we should delete that as we did in yard rear and yard front. That takes us all the way to section 2.
We had some changes with, 2. What about the balance of this? Is there, you're looking at a lot of changes?
A few more.
Okay.
Want to keep going or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in section 3, page 18, near the bottom of the page, note 2. If there's reference, section 16.1 dimensional requirements and 16.3, I think 16.3 should be changed to 16.6. Just with the new order we have. At the very last sentence on page 18, it says reference sections 3.0 and 4.2G of this ordinance, and I don't think 4.2G applies at all to permitted use. 4.2G is referenced in allowed use just above that. And also on the next page, 19, conditional use, it says the same thing about reference sections 3.0 and 4.2G. I think we get rid of 4.2G and add 7.0 because 7.0 is the section on conditional uses. Page 20, WP district. It says under permitted uses, land disturbing activities, see note 1. Note 1 says land disturbing activity is allowed only for permitted and conditional uses listed in A and B above. Well, there also are land disturbing activities that are allowed under allowed use in 4.2G. So I would suggest we just add in note 1 at the end, in addition to allowed use listed in 4.2G of this ordinance. There aren't a lot of land disturbing activities in 4.2G, but there are some. We're gonna list the ones that they can use, might as well list them all. Oh, I think I got to go back to definitions on page 8. Education facility, commercial. We added commercial slash private.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
you just want to add private.
yes,
It's on there.
That's all
right,
right.
it is on there. So if we go back to page 22, education facility, commercial, have to add slash private. And I think there's a couple other instances where education facility, with commercial, we'll have to add the private. That's one of them. Okay, if you go to page 24, we have the same thing in conditional uses. Number 4, education facility, commercial, private.
The heading of R1, second sentence, it says it provides for development
That
will provide, or that will, maybe
Mhm.
it provides for development that will strive, not strives, but just strive to or strives to preserve for the most part. It just sounds like missing a word or two there, right?
Right, yeah.
Provides for development that strives to preserve, I guess would be instead of will, or that will strive to preserve. But you know what I mean?
If we just eliminate will and put that.
Yeah, that's fine too. That's strive, yeah. It just sounded clunky.
I don't have anything until page 32.
I have something under S1, under conditional uses, education,
Page that.
29. Would be the S1 Shoreline Protection District under conditional uses. Number 3, we're adding educational facility, commercial, private, outside the shoreline overland district. I think that's kind of a reach in that district for S1. I mean, basically you're allowing something like Miss on Middle Road in all S1 districts outside the shoreline overlay. I just don't see it, guys. I think that's a large commercial activity, and there's nothing else listed here that comes close to something of that nature. I just don't think it belongs as a conditional use. Because a conditional use, we all know that it's going to be approved with conditions, so if someone applies for something that large. I don't know why we had it in there in the first place.
Yeah, it's not in the last one.
What was the thought process behind that?
Is this the healing motion discussion?
Oh, yes.
Well, maybe that shouldn't be there either. I don't know. It got a conditional use permit. I'm just also saying that what's out in Middle Road, the largest commercial enterprise on this island, could also be in any S1 district. And it just doesn't seem to jive with that land use district, in my opinion. Because I think it just showed up on this most recent
Yeah,
draft, so. Otherwise, I think I would have remembered talking about this a little bit more at one of our previous meetings. I'm not in favor of it, so if the rest of you guys are, that's fine, but I have concerns over that.
I mean, can you address why we added this?
Yeah, I think, wow, there's a lot in here. So, I think this was, as a result of our discussion on healing motion. And if that were, to be split from the existing lot, that would give that a path forward.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of making such a drastic change just to help potentially one person at the moment. And considering we don't learn from past mistakes. I mean, when will we learn? So
Let's just cross it off there and move on.
So what are we crossing?
remove it.
facial stuff.
Remove it. It's possibly a stretch.
What was the next page, Jim? You had some?
32.
Go ahead.
This is the first sentence. The way it reads, they have the examples, e.g. small retail store, restaurant. This is right after small urban area. I think it should be moved to right after the word activities.
Sure.
But it should follow, they say
Right.
activity and
Yeah.
then give the example of it. I would just move that. Then in permitted uses, number 13, entertainment facility, commercial, we'll have to add /private. And on page 34, there the conditional uses, number 3, it says education facility public. I think should be changed to education facility commercial / private. And on page 40, there's conditional uses, education facility, commercial, private. And on page 22, Town Park District, the second sentence says, all permitted and conditional uses must conform to the requirements of blah, blah, blah. Just delete permitted and conditional, and so it reads, all uses must conform to the requirements. It's the same language we use for the rest of the ordinance in different sections.
Mhm.
And again, on conditional uses, number 2, education facility, commercial / private. That's all I have on section 3.
Yeah, me too.
You know, if you want to keep going in that, Paul.
Oh, yeah, let's keep cruising. Section 4, 45.
Section 4, I have, page 48. The last sentence in the first paragraph, it says accessory structures require a land use permit. Private, I think it should read accessory structures may require a land use permit.
Well, I mean, they now require a UDC permit,
Which do,
accessory structures. So they're for sure gonna require a land use permit.
I think in this section where you look at accessory structures that are listed below,
Yeah, you're not gonna need a UDC for a
Oh, okay,
birdhouse or
for
a
a
bird feeder.
birdhouse,
It's
okay,
or in 14G.
a hell of a birdhouse.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you're right.
Okay.
May require,
And then in the next sentence, about halfway through, it says without a land use permit unless there's land disturbing activity. And I think at that point, we need to inject in excess of 100 square feet. It's up to 100 square feet. I don't think they require a land use permit, but once they go beyond that, they do. Makes sense, Shirley?
So which number?
I'm looking at the second paragraph.
Yep, I'm talking about the following accessory structures.
Yes,
Mhm.
aren't allowed use without a land use permit unless there's land disturbing activities in excess of 100 square feet done in conjunction with the placement of such structure.
Yeah, it's a-
You know, you put a post in for a birdhouse, you don't need a land disturbing activity, but if you put in
Right.
something that's 100 square feet to support a birdhouse, like.
yeah, which,
Yeah.
100 square feet is 10 by 10, so.
Yeah.
Or if you want a 100 square foot brick barbecue, you're probably gonna do some land disturbing activity, I would think.
Yeah.
Right, Sue Ellen?
Right.
Okay, good catch.
Yeah, that's fine.
And on page 49, the third paragraph. It just says, if an accessory structure exceeds the square footage listed or is an additional structure at the same time, it may require. I think we should just say land use permit rather than just permit. So people know what type of permit they need.
Yeah, clarify that.
I'm up to page 53. On off-street parking, I think.
Well, and just in general, on off-street parking on 52, if we can clean up like under use at the bottom of page 52, it says use, and if you read it, auditorium theater for every 7 religious facility. I mean, the way that's printed out,
Right,
it
yeah,
should be cleaned up so that it, you know, it should say on the one side, one space for every 7 seats. On the other side, it should say auditorium theater, religious facility, community center place. You know what I'm talking about. It just looks really crappy.
and the same thing on the next page at the top for
Yeah,
commercial entertainment. One space for each 200 recreation facility square feet of building, it's just.
and then down under education facility, public. And then it says teacher staff on the one side. If you just read the one side, you're thinking, what the hell are they talking about? Underneath education facility, that whole description, right? Education facility, public, teacher, staff, it should say on the one side, 1 space per teacher, staff member, and aide plus 2 spaces. On the other side, it should just say education facility, public, elementary, junior high. That has to get cleaned up, that's
Yes,
all.
and it will.
It's not a,
And under, on
What
the
it's
same
from.
page, it says dormitory student housing. We no longer have student housing in any of our definitions.
so just dormitory?
Yeah, it's just dormitory now. And then education facility, commercial / private.
Mm.
I'm up to page 56. Under C, non-conforming lots of record. It says in that first sentence, as specified in section 3 of this ordinance. I think that should be changed to section 16.1. Because it talks about current dimensional length, width, or area requirements. That's not section 3, that's 16.1. On page 57 at the very top, talks about the paragraph as requirements specified in section 3. Again, that would be section 16.1. And on page 57C, right now it says, if a special exemption for reduced setbacks is granted, there may be conditions set forth that there be no further building. I think rather than that, it should read that if a special exemption for reduced setbacks is granted, there may be conditions set forth, parentheses, e.g., no additional buildings are permitted on the lot.
Yep, just use it as an example.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Page 58, paragraph E. Talks about dimensional requirements of section 3. Again, that should be section 16.1. And then page 60. 2 long-term camping unit. Under A, the first sentence says a camping unit is used for more than 30 days in a calendar year and shall require, I think we just delete the word and.
Right before that, underneath, at the very top 60, it's, and when they're talking about camping on a lot for during construction, blah, 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 at the end, we don't have an asterisk that says requires approval of the Maryland Sanitary District and Ashland County zoning. We do at the bottom of page 60 in reference to number 2 long-term camping unit, but shouldn't that also be included when we're talking about camping on a lot during construction?
We just need to add the asterisk to go down there. Like it is everywhere else.
Just in case someone's reading just that section and they don't read the next section where it says requires approval, wouldn't we also want that included underneath at the end of B, which would be D1B at the bottom of page 59, continuing to the top of page 60? Because there's asterisks there.
You're saying, yeah.
Just in case someone is only interested in camping on a lot during construction, they don't go any further, they say, oh, well, I don't need, they say, but the sanitary district in Ashland County go pound sand, it doesn't say it here, so I can't see where it'd be hurt to include that.
At the end of,
E1 at the end of the last bullet before we get into number 2, which would be long-term camps. Same thing like you have at the bottom of page 60F, which used to be F, but now it's an asterisk that says requires approval of the Maryland Sanitary District and Ashland County zoning.
right,
Same wording. Just continuing on that same sentiment, unless I'm off base on that. I don't know, those should be included in asterisks underneath D1, page 59 before getting to B, that's not there either.
I'm just trying to get the numbers right here, this is under 4.2. Four point three.
4.3,
Point three, 4.3 E,
D, 4.3 D. One A, 1B, because then it's continued on to, yeah. D1A and 1B at the end of D1A and D1B. And then we go on to D2, which has the asterisk at the bottom of that.
right,
So that was my only question. Should it not also be included at the end of temporary camping?
yeah, it would make it a lot clearer for people that.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna read through the whole section.
Yeah,
to
you-
find that.
That's all.
After every type of camping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
4.4, you good, Jim?
Yeah, I don't have anything there. On 63, I mean, it's just a addition of one word under 5.2 purpose. Is to set forth additional requirements to safeguard life, health, property. I think we delete the word and. It'll read.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And 65 at the top. It says no window signs shall not exceed. I think we just get rid of the word no,
Uh,
so it would read
that one was-
window signs shall not exceed. And we have to put the S back in signs. That's all I have in 5.
On page 65, or at the same thing, at the top of the page, number 9, no permanent, and we're adding, there's no permanent off-premise directional sign can be erected to advertise a business. Should also say or commercial activity, because that's a definition on page 6, number 16. Because we're not talking about something for an off-premise directionary sign for a public. Obviously, that's something that's completely different.
So how's that gonna change?
Just add after advertise a business and then add or commercial activity. Because commercial activity is a definition number 16 on page 6. The commercial activity pertinent definition is an enterprise that promotes, creates, or exchanges products and services, e.g. advertising, fundraising, buying, selling any product or service, engaging paid membership in any group, association, or organization on the market. Commercial activities do not include such activities by or for government entities. So.
Good addition.
Throw it in.
The only other thing under type 2 signs, I was thinking about the religious institutions, because it talks about public charitable home. St. John's and St. Joseph currently both have signage that's larger than 12 square feet in area. That's only 3 by 4. I don't know if that square footage needs to be changed or if the religious institution should be moved to something else. I know it's in there because home business, home occupation, that's always been 12 square feet, but I don't know if St. John's or St. Joseph's going to get in Dutch.
Well, what if we just take religious institutions off of there?
Okay, that's fine. I know it's a separation of church and state. I don't get anyone. I don't want the big guy getting mad at any of us.
The big woman.
Or big guy, big lady, big whoever. And then under type 3, business and services in a commercial, halfway down under freestanding signs, which are basically sandwich boards, so shall not exceed 8 square feet in height and 4 feet from the ground. Does that make any sense to anybody? I thought that was supposed to say shall not exceed 8 square feet in area and 4 feet in height. I thought that's what that was intended.
Makes more sense to me.
I mean, if you guys have a different way of reading that, I just,
No, that makes sense, yeah.
and that's all I have on signs.
And 6 is as far as I've gotten to go through this, so if you're okay, we're doing one more section.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go one more, Jim.
Page 72. Under regulation of special uses and permit under accessory dwellings, the second Number 2 says only one accessory dwelling shall be allowed per parcel. Then it goes on to say it shall not exceed blah, blah, blah. Well, that's covers.
In the first one, I had the same thing. Why are we mentioning it twice? Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it out under number 2. That's what I had.
Then down on that same page, 6.3 light industrial district. Under A, it says permitted uses. I think we need to add the word that. So we read permitted uses that are listed in section 3.1 of this.
Yeah.
On page 74, a bunch of questions on this one. We'll start at the very top, home occupation, a permitted or conditional use in all zoning districts. If we look at down at home business, right below it, permitted use or conditional use in zoning districts, for some reason, we eliminated the word all. And I think we should eliminate it, home occupation also.
That's fine.
They both read the same. In the second sentence, I'm sorry, home occupation number 1 is all activities at the site must be conducted. In home business below number 1, it says all activities on the site shall be conducted. So we should stay with shall or must, either one, so they both read the same. They shall be conducted or they must be conducted. Whatever you prefer.
Well,
So
there's a
get rid of the
difference.
word may.
No,
Must or shall.
must or shall. If you look at under home occupation and home business, the number 1, it says all activities at the site must be conducted. And the other one says shall be conducted. So just for.
But must might be better.
I think so. I think so.
And on that same sentence, Jim, number 1 under home occupation, so we're taking out that the accessory building cannot be larger than 25% of the principal dwelling, which is how it was stated originally in the ordinance for a home occupation.
And we talked about putting that back in. My question is, if we do that, we are really limiting the size of an accessory building. If someone has a house that's, say it's 1,000 square feet. Okay, so now if you wanted an accessory building for home occupation to do whatever you want to do, you're really limiting that. So now that person can only build an accessory structure of 250 square feet.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if, I mean, I like
Do you want,
putting that back in, but I'm not sure.
do you want to raise it to
I'm
50%?
not
You
sure if that number is right.
want to raise it to 50%?
That'd be, yeah, I think that.
I'm comfortable with 50%. I just don't want to see someone have a 1,000 square foot house
Right.
and they build a 4,000 square foot building for,
Yeah.
especially for home occupation. If it's home business, that we're talking about home business, but home occupation is a lesser degree than home business. So if you want to jump that up, include that language, but say 50% instead of 25, that makes more sense.
Right. Okay,
Makes more sense to me,
yeah, I think we talked about putting that back in.
but raise it, yeah, raise the percentage.
You have what?
I had written it in.
And then under home occupation number 3, it reads at the end of that sentence, products or services that says area. Actually, I think it's our area.
Yeah,
Then down on number 5, it says there shall be no outdoor display, no outdoor storage or display of products, materials, etc. But if you look at right above that in number 3, it says there shall be no retail or wholesale products of this or displays of products except for those products or services that are actually produced on the site. So 3 says that you can have a display of your products, and number 5 says you cannot display your products.
I think 3 refers to finished and 5 is just stuff.
So 3 is there, so 3 says there shall be no retail or wholesale. No retail products, displays of products, such products, services. And then 5 says there shall be no outdoor storage or display of products. Huh?
Yeah, it's kind of, seems like it's contradicting.
Unless you just remove or display and just say there shall be no outdoor storage of products, materials, equipment, or machinery. I don't know. Under number 5, you get rid of or display.
Right, because I think that is more concerned with storage.
I think, yeah, I think so too.
Okay, that makes sense. And then on number 6, it talks about excessive noise, et cetera. And if you look at, under home business on the next page, number 6, it says activities shall not include any machinery, tools, blah, 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 refer to the noise ordinance. I think we can use that whole item number 6 and move that over to under home occupation number 6. Because it does everything and actually it references the town noise ordinance.
Good catch.
And on page 76, at the very top, complete sentence says, the purpose of this article is to protect the health, blah, blah, blah. I think it should read the purpose of this section. They probably took this from an article someone wrote it down.
Probably.
Was just cut and pasted from state stuff.
And then on C, still on page 76, C, distance limitations. It said number 1, said within 250 feet boundary of any residential district, blah, 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 blah. Well, those are not all residential districts. So we would just replace residential district with the wording that says of the boundary of any of the following zoning districts.
Sounds good.
And that's as far as I started 7, but
Burned out before conditional uses, huh?
well.
That's a pretty full day, Jim.
Yeah.
No, I think one meeting maybe to hopefully have the rest of it critiqued for the next week.
You were very thorough.
Very.
I guess a public hearing date's gonna be talked about at the next meeting. Yeah. Okay, next we have a response letter to the property owner regarding complaints received for wedding events, 951 White Fifth Lane, a little bit of a status update on that.
Yeah, just an update here. We have a meeting scheduled with the property owner on March 10th.
You have what kind of meeting?
We have a meeting with the property owner
Oh,
on March 10th. And that'll include Katie.
is that a Zoom they're gonna do or?
No, in person in this room.
Okay.
Yeah. So, with Katie, Rental, and Steve Schrocknagel, will be here, who conducted the site visit in September. So, everyone's accepted that, and meeting is next week.
Good.
Looks like the D, E, F, G, H, I, and J, we can just keep on the agenda and,
Nothing new for D,
yep,
right?
Correct.
Just placeholders like.
yep. So we'll just,
Under G, you have permit extension process. I think we talked about that and putting it in the ordinance, and
so we can just exit off of here for the next,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
okay, new business.
Well, I guess that's old business, but
Yeah. Future agenda items.
there you go. So we got the usual, the rewrites and all the ones that we just,
Yeah. Extended public comment, Paul?
One thing on that, do you need a permit? You're gonna have something there, you have a handler or something. Someone comes and says, do you need a permit? If someone's doing a remodeling or something, if they're on the sanitary sewer collection system, just let them know that, plumbing permits required from the sanitary district. If they're adding fixtures or pipe, emphasis on adding. And if that's the case, to contact the sanitary district for more information. Not that the zoning administrator has anything to do with issuing or making the determination about a permit, but just to contact the sanitary district. Just for more information, and use the word adding, not replace, because adding, if you're adding piping and stuff where none exists, you're gonna get a plumbing permit. If someone breaks a toilet and you just replacing sand with sand, that's one thing, but if you're adding something where none exists, yeah, you're gonna need a plumbing permit, yeah, you might need a master plumber or that's kind of up our ball of wax, it's not so much him to make a just something that in case someone asks, do I need a plumbing permit or anything for doing plumbing, then you can say, well, you might contact these guys at this phone number or at this evening.
Thanks.
Just a few sentences and
I
then
appreciate that.
Yeah.
plunk it off to these guys.
Mhm.
We'll find out in a month or two, Paul.
He's looking for something to do.
Yeah, I don't have enough. Next scheduled meeting, April 1st, 2026, 4:30 PM. Is that okay with everybody? Sue Ellen?
Yeah, what is April what?
April Fool's Day.
April Fools,
You'll be back.
Okay, and what time are we dealing?
4:30.
4:30, okay.
Are you gonna
Okay.
be home?
No, I come home on the 7th.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to zoom in.
Shucks.
All right, thanks. We're adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Sue Ellen. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Hey, Sue Ellen.
Yeah, watch your backs and shoveling.
It's just melting.
Oh, I hope so.